The Caretaker of Tree Palace by C. Don McCallum. Chapter 12, Light Follows Dark. The Boy and the Bird. Doodles poured more seed into the cup in the corner, letting it overflow a little. Watching the mourning dove pop his head down and nibble, he smiled and pulled out the water dish. He watched what was left of yesterday's water slosh and sway on the way to the bathroom, where he dumped and washed the dish clean and refilled it. This water once rained down. It rained down, nourished the earth and the little ones upon it, evaporated, then rained down again. Ocean, cloud, rain, nourishing ocean. Season after season, the cycle continued. He carried the full cup to the little bird, but it was still feeding, so he held it still in his lap until the dove rested again. He kneeled at the cage and looked for ripples in the water, but only saw the smoothness that would soon soothe the sore places in the bird's body. He studied the lines of the bird, some going up and some down, some from side to side. He looked at the bandaged leg and breathed in. "It's okay," he whispered. "It's all going to be okay." "John?" His father stood behind him. Doodles turned, careful not to spill the cup, and met his father's gaze. "Did you say something?" His father spoke breathless. John nodded. "Yes," he said, his voice raspy and unsure. His father breathed deeply. Color filled his face, and a new light, one John didn't remember, shined from his eyes. "It's okay," John said, stronger this time, and turned back to the bird in the cage. "Yes, it is," his father said. "It is." Before the last rays of sun faded away, John let the screen door slam and ran to the woods. The bird, safe and bandaged, trembled with fear and cold. John wanted to bring him a piece of home to comfort the broken little bird. He returned soon with a handful of bark from outside and set it in the cage. The bird sniffed at it and hopped inside the sweet brown streams. Falling forward, it steadied itself again, rebalancing, then played, pecking at the wood. John laughed and picked up the muddy notebook. Gingerly, he pulled apart the soggy pages stuck together from the rain. "This paper used to be trees," he told the dove and smiled. "But now it has pictures of them. The limbs of the trees once held birds." He turned a page to the mourning dove squabs, feeding. "And it still does." He laughed. The bird hopped, growing steadier with each day. Satisfied with his patient's progress, he climbed into bed and pulled the sheet over his shoulder. "Good night, little one." "Hoo-do-do," the mourning dove cooed from his swing in the cage. The first rays of sun trickled into the room. John stirred in his bed and grabbed, out of habit, for his fresh new notebook on his nightstand. But his hands stopped midair. There'll be time to draw later, he thought. Once the bird was freed. Arising, he quietly dropped, cross-legged, on the floor to be eye level with the little bird's home. On his way down, he tugged at the thin veil draping the cage that had once belonged to his mother and his grandmother before her. Its bandage carefully removed the night before, the little bird stepped to the side, startled by the sudden daylight. A hop towards the seed showed the boy that yes, the dove was ready to fly again, its leg mended after weeks of watchfulness and care. He traced the soft lines of the bird again, memorized its lights and shadows. He couldn't help it. He grabbed his new notebook to record his little friend. He would miss the little bird, the sounds of it shuffling about in the seeds and bark, the splashing of water, the tiny ding of the bell. He would miss it being near. He drew his heart felt the freedom of its soon flying wings. Not wanting to hold the bird here a second longer than necessary, he closed it with a pencil in the crease, dressed in yesterday's clothes, and went to his father's room to wake him. The birds. Nearness looked at Boy and hopped towards him. The nest where the boy kept him safe feeding him, singing to him as his leg mended, was surrounded by straight, impenetrable lines. Nearness longed for the freedom of the sky, but remembered the weakness of his broken leg, thankful that time and the boy's kindness had healed. Boy's father came to the nest, and they sang to each other a quiet song Nearness did not understand. Then Boy's hand reached above where Nearness perched and lifted the entire nest intact. He carried the nest around for a bit until a dark wall opened to reveal the sky and the trees. The smells of the earth filled Nearness with joy. His heart tremored and his wings fluttered. He wanted to fly. The perch wobbled with the movement of the nest, but his strengthened leg helped him remain balanced on the swing. The trees came closer. Familiar limbs and branches came into view. The place where he first saw the sky, his mother and father's beaks full of food for a hungry little belly. The place where he learned to fly. The place of his falling. Nearness wanted to fly and dance and sing. His song poured out of him. Beauty, he chirped. Oh, beauty, so sweet, lovely, dear lovely, let us meet. And the nest was still. Boy poured seed on the boards in the clearing. Hoot-o-do, hoot-o. Nearness stopped mid-song and strained her ears to listen. A voice as familiar as the sound of his own heartbeat sang to him in the distance. Mama, Nearness' wings lifted him, and he smashed against the boy's healing nest. Nearness, is that you? Mama, the little bird sang. Nearness, Gentle alighted on her own joy disguised as the breeze. Fly to me, fly quickly. She wanted to see him with her own eyes. It was hard to believe. Winsome's wings danced, his head raised to the sun. We figured you as lost or blown away, little one, Winsome sang, yet you remain here among us. Where is it that you've been, so far away that you could not hear my coos? Gentle pleaded. To caretakers where seed one nested, Nearness sang. With our boy, he sheltered me as do the trees. He kept me from wind and rain, from hunger and thirst. I was broken. Gentle gasped. Yet he mended me with kindness of gentle rains and the patience of trees. You are well? Gentle begged to know. Yes, gloriously well, and happy too. Though I was afraid, truth be told, and did meet my new friend, all I longed for was the call of freedom. How I ached for this palace and the sky-reaching limbs. How I yearned to fly among the fragrant branches of these welcoming cedar elms. It is we who longed for your sweet song, dear Nearness, Winsome said to his son. And now you are free, Gentle cooed. Well, happy and free. This sorrow has passed, as the eagle said. My heart rejoices. It is good again. Thank you for listening to The Caretaker of Tree Palace by C. Don McCallum. If you're enjoying this story, please consider sharing it with someone you know. And please like the video and subscribe to this channel to help others discover these stories.